Having a good nightly routine can literally be life-changing, and it definitely has been for me, both physically and mentally, but it didn't come overnight. In fact, it took a lot of frustrating years finding out both what worked best for me, but also more importantly, implementing it and staying consistent with it. So today, I wanna go through all the steps that I frequently use, which has really helped me to become a better person. And before we begin, I want to give a huge thanks to TLF for helping to make this video possible. I'm wearing their apparel. I love the way it feels. And if you want to grab some of your own, head to tlfapparel.com and use our code TLF-buff for 15% off. Link in description. All right, let's get to the video. There are multiple chapters to my nightly routine, and I'm going to call the first one, which usually starts at 6 p.m., be in the now. With the work that we do, it's very easy to bring it home with you. A lot of times your head's still spinning, you're thinking about what to do tomorrow, what you did today, what maybe you forgot to do, and I know that's the same for a lot of you out there. We all live very busy work lives, but I really try and prioritize family once I get home because it's easy to be there with them physically, but mentally you're in another place. And I know I've struggled with that in the past, but I really try and focus on the exact moment I'm in because it's very important. Life can pass you by very quickly, and I don't want to have any regrets that I really wasn't there as it was happening. So immediately upon getting home, it's family time, and during that time, I am in the now. Next up on the nightly routine is dinner, and I typically like to keep this meal a little lighter. Usually what I'll do is I'll taper on down throughout the day. So breakfast is a pretty big one, lunch is moderate, and dinner is, I would say, the smallest. Now that's not set in stone because a lot of it depends on my calorie and macro needs. I am a big fan of tracking both of those things. So usually whatever I have left over in regards to calorie and macros, I really like to try to fill in during dinner. And the sooner I get those calories in my body, the better, because shortly thereafter, we begin the process of putting our kids down for sleep, which is a combination of reading books, a little bit more playtime, hygiene, and convincing them that yes, it is indeed time to go to bed, which can be a little bit of a struggle sometimes, but we usually like to try to do that around 8 to 9. So that is the next big part of my nightly routine. And once that is finished, then it's daddy time. So it's roughly 9 p.m. We put the kids down, or if you don't have kids, basically you're winding down for the night and you've come to your first really big crossroads. And that is sacrifices must be made. When it comes to scheduling, you'll very often hear the phrase, I don't have time. And in regards to a schedule such as this one, everything past this point, you're going to have to make sacrifices in order to fit it into your schedule. And for me personally, I had to sacrifice my phone and my TV time. And for some of you, you may be thinking, well, fuck that. Netflix is where I get to veg out, I get to just unwind, and I get to turn off for a little while. And you know what? That is very true. And that can be healthy to a certain extent. But for me, at this point in my life, I do not do that. And sometimes when you want to come to that next big step in your life, that is what you have to do. You have to make some sacrifices. I spent a big chunk of my 20s doing the Netflix time, doing the vegging out and turning off time, but honestly, I feel like I've gotten enough of that. And it's time for me to educate myself a little bit, and that meant I had to take that fork in the road, which leads us to adult education. And for that, that can be many different things. Right now, at this point in my life, I'm focused on spending it learning guitar. It's something I've always wanted to do ever since I was a teenager, and I'm finally using a little time now to do exactly that. I'm not good at it, but I am trying to learn one night at a time. I usually spend about half an hour, on a really good night, an hour, and I'm just trying to educate myself because it was always an unknown to me and I want it to be known. And I look at it a little bit like the game The Sims, if you remember that one. You would buy the guitar for your little avatar dude, he would be horrible, but if you fast forward it over time, you'd see them get a little better and better. Of course, I wish I could fast forward my life in regards to learning things sometimes, but I can't. So I'm stuck in the now, learning one step at a time, and it's a very important part of my night because I feel it's educating me in a field that I'm uncomfortable with. And I am a big believer in stepping out of your comfort zone, learning things that you don't know about until your comfort zone gets just a little bit bigger, and then suddenly you feel very comfortable. And at that time, it's time to step out of it again until it keeps getting larger and larger, and you keep learning more and more things. But in order to do that, sacrifices will have to be made. Once I finish with my adult education, I head to the bedroom, and as I enter the bedroom, I remind myself it is a no phone zone. Phones can be very distracting, and a lot of times you don't even realize you're using them. You have them in your pocket, you have them near you, you're constantly grabbing them. Oh, you wanna learn a little bit of information here, you gotta use a bathroom, so as you sit on the toilet, you're gonna use it for about just a second. That second turns into half an hour, all of a sudden a big chunk of your night's gone. So for my own sake, the bedroom has an invisible force field and there's no phones allowed. And once I enter the bedroom, the first thing I do is I work on mobility. Brandon, my brother, released a video just a few weeks back called Morning Routine. You can find the link in the description, and we do our workouts then. I'm a huge advocate of getting the workouts done first thing in the morning. Great way to start your day. You don't got to worry about the stress of missing them later. But just because we got the big workout done in the morning doesn't mean you can't do a little bit more at night. I like to focus more on the mobility side of things in the evening. It gets me ready for bed, I feel. It's a way to relax a little bit, almost meditate, or as close to meditation as a buff dude can do. And I'll usually just do about 10 to 15 minutes. Nothing too long. I like to focus on whatever issues with my body I may be having, maybe some lower back, lower body, upper body, or maybe just a general mobility stretching routine. But whatever it is, I like to do it, and I do it for about 10 to 15 minutes. With the mobility out of the way, I'm feeling loose, I'm feeling relaxed, and now it's time to head to the bathroom in order to take care of some hygiene. I keep it really simple. I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and these are two things that you definitely do not want to sacrifice. I have in the past, and it cost me big time. So after a very stern talking to from my dentist and some deep teeth and gum cleanings, they're two things that I'm not going to be forgetting anytime in the near future. And it's just one of those things that make you look better, that make you feel better, they make you a lot more presentable. So they only take about 10 minutes, and they're definitely not worth neglecting. With hygiene out of the way, I grab a book and head to bed. And reading for me over the past couple of years has really been a big sense of entertainment and education, because I've been able to catch up on a lot of the classic books I didn't really get a chance to read as a kid. Maybe I didn't really realize their importance. I thought I had better things to do, but now I'm finally getting a chance to catch up on all those, which I really enjoy. So I'll kind of jump back and forth between fiction, nonfiction, whatever real mood I'm in. And in addition to the education and entertainment aspect of books, they also play another vital role as an excellent sleeping pill. Unfortunately, I don't think I can ever make it more than about 10 pages before I fall asleep, so it takes me quite a while to finish a book, but I do gotta say I love the fact that they put me right to bed. So reading for me is a great way to end my day. I usually try to aim for about 7 to 8 hours of solid sleep, because the next day we're up and we're right back at it. But our day isn't finished yet, because I want to spend just a moment going over my early morning routine. And for most people, this part right here can be the most difficult. I know it has especially been hard to create and maintain this habit over time, but man, is it worth it. And that is getting up first thing in the morning before everyone else does, in order to have a little you time. And for me, that is writing. I usually like to spend about an hour to do exactly that. A lot of what we do, even on this channel, involves a lot of writing, and for me, I like to do it immediately upon waking up. During the pandemic, with everything closed down, there wasn't a lot to do, and I found myself writing more and more. So much more, in fact, that I have written almost 200,000 words in a science fiction story that I'm creating right now. It's been a real source of enjoyment for me. I'm almost wrapped up with the first draft. And the reason that I'm even mentioning this is I just want to say it is absolutely amazing what you can accomplish when you put your mind to something. And for me at this point in time, that is exactly what I'm focusing my little free time on. And I just want to say, you can do the same thing. It doesn't have to be writing, it doesn't have to be guitar, but it can be something that maybe you never imagined yourself doing. You've always wanted to, but you thought either I don't have time, I'm not talented enough, it's never gonna happen. You can make it happen. You have to schedule something out, but more importantly, you have to stick to that schedule. And I really hope my nightly routine has helped you out in some way. Of course, feel free to keep what works for you, disregard what doesn't, but more importantly, remember that it really can be life-changing. The title of this video was a pretty big one, but I feel that it is factual because for me, it really has been life-changing. It's helped to make me a better person physically and mentally. Along the way, I've learned a lot of new things, and it's helped to create a better family and also a better business. So really, it's win-win. You do gotta sacrifice, it's not always gonna be easy, and you're not always gonna be able to stick to it 100%. So even if you aren't able to do this every single night, as long as you're doing it most nights, that's the important part. So get out there, create your perfect nightly schedule, and until next time, stay buff.